Hey everyone, this is Mike, and I'm here with Isaac,
A
and we're here to talk about some video games. More specifically, we're here to talk about electronic arts. So, as some of you may know, a big announcement has been made in the business world that Electronic Arts EA will be going private soon. And, well, it's simply to say, a lot of people are concerned about this new announcement because of who is going to be owning EA soon as it's going private. Yeah, we're going to get into it. But if you like what we do here, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Now, this is an article that comes from Business Wire, but also got covered for me over at DIDdetected.com. Electronic Arts, again, as mentioned, is going to be going private soon, and they have been bought out for $55 billion. Now, the buyers have been reported to be investors from three different groups, which is Silver Lake, a global investment firm, the government of Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, and a private equity firm known as Affinity Partners, which is owned by Donald Trump's son in law, Jared Kushner. Now, those three, the two of those like investors alone has a lot of people like upset. And well, before I get into anything else, because I do have some things, choice words I want to say, but I want to get Isaac's thought on this.
right off the bat. I mean,
I
if we're gonna
mean,
sit here and talk about electronic arts being privately ethically owned, well then, um, yeah, this is a big situation. Again, it comes down to one of these video game company. I don't like the idea of video game company. Well, let's go. We understand that EA has not been the best company for a while
yeah,
in terms
obviously.
of the direction they've gone into. Again, EA used to make some really good games. Was very creative. Remember the EA Big sagas. Even Madden wasn't bad, but it was a very really risky company. It was a really company that was willing to sit down and
To
take
take risks,
risk back in
yeah.
the day. So now, as it shifted, they went more into um, battle passes, more ongoing online games. And they looked for more of these money opportunities that really kind of hurt the product of EA at the moment. So now, for them to kind of go into the realm of a go back to more of a private equity, it does bring some very interesting situations because in one hand, there are could be interesting positives to it in terms of the fact that they have opportunity to kind of reassemble everything, which they can just kind of move around their money and get everything kind of re-established and restructured to the point where now they can kind of get their businesses back in order, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe 5 or 10 years and go back to being public again. So that was an option. And there is an idea that by going private, they don't really have to bow down to shareholders anymore. You know what I mean? That
True.
that removes the shareholders aspect of it. So it allows them as a company just to kind of hopefully focus more on development of games, and hopefully in a way be able to take, once again, go back to be that company that took risk again, and hopefully bring in new and interesting ideas, or in this case help bring back the quality of certain other games without needed to have stock, without shareholders pressuring them to continue to push out a new Madden every year that continues to get worse and worse with quality. Maybe it gives them that opportunity to step back and reassess and hopefully make better products pushing forward. Um, on With that also being said, there are also kind of the risk to the fact that you going back into private. It basically means that you don't really have to answer any of your finances, nor no longer public,
Yes, that is true. Yes.
meaning that nobody. nobody has to. You don't. You can hide it, and nobody can question how you're using the money or making sure that those money is going to the right places. Um, it also means that when you are now governed by private equity, it also means that just because you don't, it's just a different kind of pressure now. You know,
Yes.
that now you have to sit down and make games that they want in terms of in terms of hopefully um issuing that meets their interest in terms of money and public share. Another situation too that also can be ranked is um, workers. You worry about the situation with workers and how they're being played too, because you also have to remember some of their stock options are usually tied into the stock market. Now that you remove that away from them, that means that the current workers they're having have very few options in terms of negotiating power, in terms of money power too. So that gets slightly taken away from them as well. And like I said, you don't have to answer any questions if you go back to being private again in terms of how your money is being used and how those monies are allocated. When every year you have to put out your annual report and show the world and how you're using your finances. So now those books get closed up once again while they're making these kind of
Mm-hmm.
business decisions too. So I mean, there are goods and bads to
Mm-hmm.
this happen, and it's an either or though. But
Yeah.
I think you're gonna go more based on the bads, or
Obviously. Obviously, a lot of
knowing
people
you're gonna
knowing
go more on the based on the bad with EA.
well, I'm not even not so much that I'm going to base it on the bads,
The
but
cons.
the
Oh
cons.
yeah,
Yeah, the pros and the cons. But yeah, saying that obviously the one of the biggest cons is like a complete culture shift of the company. Not to say that EA's culture currently was any good, but still, considering who they have on board, has a lot of people freaking out. You have Saudi Arabia oil princes now like thrown in the mix, and of course you have the son-in-law of Donald Trump also being added into the mix. Everybody's freaking out. In fact, again, with my little article that I have written on DIDetective.com, I did go on to mention that yeah, again, a lot of communities are upset. More specifically, was the Sims community. They went on a complete meltdown over the announcement saying that their game is going to be screwed. They're going to remove all the progressive stuff out of the game. The game is going to commit to everything that's in like it's just like it was a mess. Like again, this is something I said before regarding like Saudi Arabia and how they seem to be just buying up a lot of this like gaming companies, not just gaming, sports in general. Like, because I know you're a big sports guy, and a lot of events are being owned. A lot of like sports events are being owned by Saudi Arabia now. I believe there was like
Live
a
Golf.
yeah, that was one of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Live Golf is on a big one. Yeah, it's it is a public shift from what they used to be, because
interesting.
they
Yeah,
understand right now that there's only so much oil left that you can plow
yeah,
out at the moment, and now they're sitting on the top of cash, and now they want to pivot from that into something else that's a little bit more,
sustainable.
a little bit not sustainable, more diversified. And I
True.
think they
Okay.
want to touch into that. And now this is one of the things they're trying to do. I think they want to be more of an entertainment hub. And they're pushing for more of that, and being one of that is lucrative is going to gaming, which is very interesting in terms of where gaming is. And what we talk about how the western side of gaming is a little bit rocky, but the eastern side of gaming is doing pretty well. So
Yes.
I think they understand that there is a global opportunity for them to do that, and we've sat down and talked about that, how they've been bought. Um, SNK, it's been bought out
Yeah,
under
3 years
the.
ago. Yes, it was 3 years old ago.
Mhm.
Again, a lot of people didn't freak out about that. I guess because they didn't think that back then. I guess people didn't think that this kind of activity was gonna happen again. And we didn't
I don't think
think.
I don't think it's about even the activity. I just didn't, I just don't think they maybe,
Yeah,
but
because I don't think people back then expected that Saudi Arabia was going to get this involved into all of these like forms of entertainment.
Yeah, but I think when you looked at SNK and the money and the marketing push for that game too, like it was everywhere. It was pushed really, really hard. So
for their game, because then again, it was 3 years ago. They were bought 3 years ago, and now with the recent game, which was again Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. Yeah, the marketing push was huge. Wasn't it also pushed at a boxing event?
Yes, it was pushed at a boxing event. It was pushed at WrestleMania. It was around.
They were hobnobbing with KSI and who's the other YouTuber?
I
Show Speed, yes.
I mean, look, they got Cristiano Ronaldo on the deck. Game, like it was an interesting marketing push to say the least that they did. But listen, I mean, that was the money that they had right now. And in a good way, like you think about it too, like I don't know if it's quote unquote necessary evil though, but for the fan base, I get it. For the fan base, they're a little like feels unauthentic. But if you look at it for like a struggling company like SNK,
SNK was struggling.
They needed that kind of boost right now to even make City of the Wolves even happen.
Yes.
So you got to take the good and the bad with this whole situation.
I do.
So again, with this situation with EA, I understand for people like the game of The Sims might be worried if some of their politics or some of their issues end up getting to the game, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe a couple of these financials just look at it simply like, hey, this is just another thing that we want to add to our portfolio to diversify, and then we want to sit down and play. Who knows? We don't know yet until we see how the financials sit down and work.
Exactly. I mean, again, we discussed this like a while ago about how Saudi Arabia also acquired Evo, and people were freaking out about, again, human rights violations. Saudi Arabia, how can you work with this country? They're evil, they're bad, or blah, 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 blah. It's just like, okay, like, again, I've said this before, like, there wasn't much outrage about Marvel Rivals, which is one of the biggest team-based free-to-play games out there right now, or Riot Games, creators of League of Legends, and, of course, 2XKO. They're both owned by NetEase and Tencent, respectively. And they're both, these games, any huge Chinese company is directly tied to the CCP, which is a government that's known for some of the biggest human rights violations in the world. Like, again, I said this in that last video. I could go on with examples, but the point I'm making here is that you can follow money for just about any AAA company or just like any big name company out there. You can have it, it can be, and you're going to see it's going to end up tied to like an organization or business practices that may go against one's morals. Now, as far as my concern goes, the intent behind these acquisitions is all that matters right now. Because if Saudi, like as you said, if Saudi Arabia is just strictly keeping things to business and just, not trying to rock the boat or anything, I won't have a problem with it. It's if they start deciding to like cover up the female characters in burqas and start forcing people to.
I think that's a little. I think that's a little bit exaggerated.
I'm exaggerating, but that's what in their minds. That's what they think is going to happen.
I understand. No, and I totally understand the situation.
Yeah.
If more cultural and moral beliefs somehow seep their way into EA, that's where people started to be worried about it. I totally understand. I get it.
Exactly. In their minds, that's what they think is going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I hope that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, of course I'm going to speak out against it. Likewise, I don't want to see pro-Trump or pro-MAGA messaging in my games either due to Jared Kushner's influence. Just keep the game message, whatever messaging the game has, keep it neutral.
Yeah, I don't think that's really going to happen. I think this is just really a diversity profile. This is just another add into the portfolio.
I don't think. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think this is going to happen. Again, in people's minds, they think that's what's going to happen, and people are just kind of just like overreacting and just just it's a wait and see moment right now. Just wait and see what happens.
It definitely really is a wait and see moment too, because and here's another thing too that has to be added now with EA going into private too. It's a lot more riskier now too, because now you don't have the leaning of public money coming in through shares of people being
True.
able to add into it. So now this is all private funded,
Yeah.
meaning that there is a bigger
It's more of a do or die.
It's a more of a
situation.
do or die situation because now you have to get money through private equity versus through the public anymore. So if these games do not perform financially, you're not going to be able to be bailed out through the public sector anymore
Yeah.
because you've removed yourself from that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's good on that because you don't have to reveal your money and all the bad business choices that EA has done to the public. But in the riskier side of that, again, you have to now you're answering into a different set of masters right now, and ensuring that you are able to produce these type of games right now at the moment. Yeah, and I did hear about that. The share prices did go up to 210.
Yeah, they went up.
And I'll admit I do have some shares in EA, but
Good lucky you.
Yeah, in that situation, not enough, but not enough to
for-
even take advantage even
Okay.
of the share.
This
Of
is
the
like
share
you have
hike.
like a penny share.
Yeah, mostly it's not even that much.
Okay.
But honestly, Madden and the football club get released every year, and people still buy that game like shills. So that was the reason why I sat down and enjoyed it
Okay,
as a
yeah.
business prospect. But no, I mean, you really do think about that, and then like you're saying, you think about the worker situations about that, and you, um, I try to go and look up other things in terms of in terms of how it works in terms of work and unions. It doesn't really sit down and affect on how the unions would work. However, because you do take away a lot of stuff publicly, it does make it harder for unions to even put a stronghold once the games go public, pretty much. So you
True.
lose that kind of ability in terms of workers' rights who are working on these games. You don't have that much of a foothold in that sector of that anyway at the moment. So again, it's either or at the moment. Again, it's still being
It really is a wait and see at this moment. Man.
now.
Like,
This got finalized. When did it get finalized? Today?
I believe so. In fact, I could just check that right here and see if it
This is
was.
Bloomberg. Okay, this is straight from EA.
It's straight business why yeah, yep. It's just like okay, so and like August, that was August 14th. No, that was something else. That was the final like shared of it. I don't think it is like 100% like I don't think it's like I think it's just been announced. I don't think
it's not ink
just
to paper yet.
Yeah, it's not ink to paper yet. Yeah.
But this is something that is being discussed right now in EA at the moment. Um, again, so I guess towards you in the like, what are you hoping for with this EA? What are the good things that you're hoping for with this EA acquisition, and what are the things that you're concerned about?
Obviously the biggest thing I was hoping is revival of some like long standing missing like EA like franchises that are basically just been put to rest for like so long that could be revived back. Personally, I would love to see a new SSX game. I would love to see a new Def Jam game because that was hinted at some point that a lot of people that they were going to revive.
I did remember
Def Jam
Ice Cube tried to start something.
Try to start something. Yeah,
I'm trying to
just
bring
interested.
that
Yeah,
back.
but yeah, they have plenty of games that they could easily try to bring back under this new merger. Obviously, try to strengthen their existing franchises like Battlefield, Madden, blah blah blah. But they're just again under the massive graveyard of studios that they shut down and the IPs that they took from the dead corpses. There's so much they could do. There's so much they could revive. Like even like this, yeah, like freaking like,
Listen, you may be able to revive back old IPs that maybe in the beginning you couldn't do because under public surveillance right now. It just seems like, hey, this is towards the shareholders. This is just not lucrative at the moment. Stick
Yep.
to making more Madden games. Stick to making
Yeah.
more first games. So again, maybe it allows EA to go back to their
The old well, yeah.
the old well of
vaults.
old games and see that, hey, I mean, you know, these are games that were really cool back in the early 2000s. Let's see if we can bring these back up again. Let's, like you said, let's talk to Def Jam again. Let's see if everybody's cool making a remaster. Maybe if you give us a remaster of the two games.
I would be happy with a remaster of Fight for New York.
Yeah, like an updated HD remaster. Granted, I don't know, you would have to sit down and get all the license. Now with Saudi money, with that Saudi money, you're probably able to do that now.
Yeah.
So, you know, because it's private. So there's I think there is plenty of I think there's plenty. I think there is a plenty of good.
Yeah,
there is also, again, that's not to say there's some things that you have to worry about.
Obviously, like microtransactions, they're gonna ramp up the microtransactions,
Very
the
true.
DLC, the initial price tag, $90 games. Like there's so much that could go wrong with this, regardless. But
I agree.
I'm just hoping that it's gonna be good and not bad. But anyway, we should probably wrap this up at this point. What do you think about this merger that's not merger, freaking like this buyout. This buyout. What do you think about this buyout that's about to happen? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like what we do here, please rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mike with Isaac, and we are saying peace.